Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Princess of Aesthetically Princess. If you are new here, hi, welcome. I am Princess. If you don't know who I am, then you don't know that here on this channel I usually do anything that comes to mind, such as skincare, hair, art. I did a baking video last week. But this week I am doing an art video. I am doing another Inktober prompt. So at the beginning of October I decided I would do a Inktober prompt a different Inktober prompt every week. This week we are doing which coven are you with this list. Now for this one, it is made by two people on Instagram. I'm going to leave them both linked down below. Vetvy and I can't ever remember her name, but I'm going to put them down below and their names are going to be like on the actual list. I freaking love it. I enjoyed doing this one so freaking much. But for if you are confused about what Inktober is, it is an event that is done usually on social media where artists from everywhere are usually given like an Inktober list, or some artists will make their own lists such as this one, and they kind of every day you make something new based off the prompt word of that list. So for this one you're meant to make a kind of like a witch persona, which is like a persona of you as a witch, but instead I decided to make my own witch OC. I am so excited because I have already finished everything, and the only thing I have a problem with is her name. So I'm going to ask you guys on Instagram, which is princess._.blue, my Instagram page. I'm going to put a poll in my Insta stories and I'm going to ask you guys what you think her name should be. So we'll name her then, I guess. There's also a different one, another art piece that I did based on her character at the end of this video as well. But also, if you want to keep up with any of the Inktobers that I've done, which I've already done Blacktober and I've done Witchtober, and I've done some other Inktober prompts that I just pulled out of nowhere and just like drew for days that I just didn't want to do on the other prompts, other prompt days. So like today, I still haven't drawn today's because I'm confused about what today's is. But if you guys ever want to keep up with the Inktobers that I've done or am doing, follow me on all of my social media, which will be linked down below. So let's get into the video.
Okay, so first thing that I need to start with is a sketch page so I can brainstorm what she should look like, what coven she would be in, all the good things about life. So the first thing I ended up doing was, of course, putting everything on the page so you guys could see, and then doing the little witch coven quiz. What is a twiz? Quiz. But I actually ended up having mostly bees. I kind of wanted to think about what I would want her to seem like. And so I ended up with the moon coven. You'll see it when I add in the other page, but it's really easy to take the quiz, of course, but honestly I really was excited about like figuring out which one it was. So I ended up as a moon witch for her. When I did the quiz the first time, I picked things I would like, and I ended up with a crystal witch, but I like that I have the moon witch because I love the way that she turned out a lot more than I was thinking about the first time. So as for her, I kind of ended up wanting her to be similar to the main witch character that was shown in the picture, and so I ended up like, basing her hairstyle, number one of them is the first one that I wanted to make sure I kind of had like down packed. I ended up trying to draw her head, so I ended up moving it over and kind of just sitting there and thinking about the different types of things that I wanted her head to look like her overall facial features, things like the way her lips were shaped, and her overall hairstyle and hair color was a weird choice for me because I ended up going with similar hair texture as the shown witch for the witch quiz. As for her outfits and things like that, I tried to look up celestial aesthetic outfits so I could keep within the moon theme so that she would still be like very moon witchy, very aesthetically pleasing overall. I like the space buns because like the main girl in the picture had space buns, but I didn't want her to have like her hair down. It would feel like it would be too similar to the girl in the picture. I also ended up later on kind of thinking of just how the heck I was going to keep her within theme, but also make her as different as possible from like the main character. I tried to keep the moon theme was like something that I really wanted to make sure that you knew. So like I had moons in her clothing, moon tattoos all over her body, jewelry, things like that. Like I said, as for her outfits, I kind of was pulling together like different types of celestial quote unquote aesthetic outfits. One of the outfits that I ended up drawing was based off a girl named Maybe's on Instagram, and she has a shop with her sister, and I follow them, so I was like, she's like the perfect person to like, you know, base the clothes off of. I will draw her more outfits soon, like in different pictures and depictions. I will draw her different outfits soon and things like that. Since I didn't start on like day one, I wasn't able to like really do much of like the other Inktober ideas, but I do like the way that her her overall character kind of looks. I would love to keep working with her. Maybe next year I'll try and use her a lot more. Try to incorporate her more and give her like a whole story, a whole background story and things like that. So I really did like how like her overall character came out. So enjoy the rest of this sketching session, and we'll start on brainstorming for the theme that we're going for. Okay, so for the next part, I'm going to actually start sketching out the idea for Cauldron, which I'm actually pretty excited about. So like I said, I went for day 17, which was Cauldron, and I ended up also doing day 16, not 16, but day 22 as well, but I did that one off camera because I was kind of just decided to like sketch kind of overall calmly. But for this particular sketch for Cauldron, I wanted it to be a very big, you know, like finite piece, like an idea of like this is like print worthy, full on 100%, like, you know, how would you say, like full kind of like cute background. Overall she just looks nice, and I actually do like the way that the overall sketch came out. When I was thinking of the sketch, I definitely wanted to make sure the Cauldron was in picture, but I didn't want her to be putting anything inside of it. As for like her outfit, I wanted her to have on like a dress, like it would seem like she was doing like a ritual. Now as for the witch hat on the official drawing, I kind of ended up keeping the witch hat, but like I was thought about it for a minute and I didn't know if I wanted to give her a witch hat, but I ended up giving it to her anyways because I like the idea of her with her witch hat. It was cute. It was a nice idea. As for her hair, it doesn't look like the hair that I actually gave her, like at all, not even close. But I wanted to make sure her bangs were out of her face because of like I wanted to get her facial structure within the picture, since I didn't take my time to do any of the other days. As for her overall outfit, at first I wanted to do like just a cute kind of dress with like the straps so you could see tattoos on her arms, but I ended up giving her ginormous puffy sleeves because I just love puffy sleeves. And as for like her hands, I am a big lover of gloves, and I like the idea of witches with gloves, so I ended up keeping her gloves. This is another thing that I ended up taking out of like the official drawing, which was I put stars in her hair. And I had seen a picture of like a girl and she had little star clips like in her down hair, and I was like, that's such a cute idea. But I ended up thinking that it was just too much because her hair, she already had on a hat and she already had her clips in her hair to keep her bangs out of her face, so adding in like the stars in her hair was just overall just too much. Maybe in a different drawing I'll add them, but like in this one I was just like, this is just over the top and a little too extra for me, so that had to go. I was also originally thinking about putting like cute stars and things on her clothing, but again, with the idea of I wanted to keep the moon and star theme so prominent, I felt like it was too much to put on her clothes. So I ended up just giving, in the official drawing you'll see, I ended up just giving her a nice cute belt to go with like a star and the moon. As for the drawings on her cauldron, I ended up really liking it. I like the idea of having like her cauldron have something that was like particularly her, like it would be her way of like, this one's mine, no one can touch it. Like her own personalization on her cauldron was just so cute to me. As for the background, I want to keep the background simple because there was so much going on with her that the background didn't need anything. So I ended up just doing something really pretty easy, pretty like, how would you say, stylized. But the only thing that I really did change was like her overall clothing. The tattoo on her arm, it moved because she had big puffy sleeves, so her tattoo moved and it changed. Usually in more pictures of her, I'll probably end up doing more tattoos in different places because like overall I just like drawing tattoos on characters, especially when they're in theme. So she'll end up having a few more moon tattoos when you see her again, if you choose to follow me and things like that. But overall, I think she turned out great.
없이는 나 없는 거야. 온종일 너 때문에 행복해져. If your love 이젠 고백해. My love 이렇게 널 좋아해. My love 네가 정말 좋아. 이젠 나 네가 안아줄래. 붕덩 빠졌어. 예쁜 내 맘 푹 안아줘. Just falling in love with you. 사랑에 빠졌어. Just falling in love with you. 너만을 사랑해. My love 이렇게 널 사랑해. My love 이게 사랑인 걸. 이런 말 너무 떨리지 마. 이젠 말할게. 수줍은 내 손 잡아줘.
Okay, so I ended up skipping ahead in the lining process because you already saw me sketch it out. You don't need to see me with the lining. I ended up really liking the original sketch, but I ended up changing a lot of things about her outfit. So the first thing I ended up changing was the top of her dress. I ended up giving her a low dip top instead of just her, which originally she just had like just a little bit of a tight corset with some straps. I ended up giving her a full-on poofy dress because I felt like she needed a full-on poofy dress. And I actually like this a lot more than the original one because it fits more with the gloves that she has to have like this ginormous big old poofy thing, and then the nice gloves to like cover her hands. Now, as for her overall, character look, like I said, I ended up changing a few things, particularly just her clothing, but because of the changing of her positioning of her clothing, I ended up changing a bunch of her all of her tattoos from the ones that she had before. I still kept the moon over her chest, but I ended up later on deciding that her moon needed a little bit more decoration, and I ended up changing it from just the bursts coming out from it because they would be covered by too much of her hair, and instead giving them like a drip right into like her chest area. The lining process, I ended up not showing a bunch of it because, like I said, you ended up seeing a bunch of the sketching process, so why would I show you the sketching of the lining, just the lining of like the sketch that we already had. As for the overall look of her cauldron, now this one was one of my favorite parts, which is because it was just so cute and simple. I like the simplicity of her, the front of her cauldron, because it's just circles and then the moon phases, and I thought it would be super duper cute. You don't see more of I don't really depict any more of the moon phases in the picture. We just go for crescent moons usually, but I do like the full black cauldron and then the gold on her, and then the gold lettering and stuff on her cauldron, so that made me super duper happy. There wasn't really much else that needs to be talked about except for the coloring process, which we'll talk about when we get to it. Okay.
내 맘과 다르게 너에게 상처를 줬으니 사랑한다는 말로도 부족했던 너에게 내가 너무 잘못한 것 같아. 너와 나의 다른 생각이 결국엔 우리를 서로 갈라서게 만들었어. 근데 왜 이런 얘기를 하게 된 건지 난 모르겠어. 어쩌다 너와 나 왜 이렇게 끝난 건지 너를 기억하면 난 가슴이 아파와. 어쩌다 너와 나 이렇게 잊혀진다면 다시 사랑할 수 없을 것 같아. 말은 해줘야 하는데 내 마음 변하지 않았다고. 모든 게 오해야. 내 얘길 들어주길 바래. 어쩌다 너와 나 왜 이렇게 끝난 건지 너를 기억하면 난 가슴이 아파와. 어쩌다 너와 나 이렇게 잊혀진다면 다시 sweetie boy. Oh, why you not remember my life, and why am I under the sky so hot in life? Remember you got to be mine. Oh, why you not remember my life, and why am I under the sky so hot in life? Remember you got to be mine. Oh, why you not remember my life, and why am I under the sky so hot in life? Remember you got to be mine, my sweetie boy.
Okay, so now for the fun part, which is coloring. I wouldn't say it was fun. I would say it was a little piece of hell, but you know, optimism. So the coloring process was a little bit more interesting than like the overall lining process, but the lining process will be longer in this video because there's so much of the sketching process where I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? I already hate it. So for this particular lining, it was hard coming up with her overall color scheme because the color scheme of the moon coven was a lot of pinks. It was a lot of pinks, but at the same time incorporating all those pinks but still keeping in like a moon theme was going to be a little bit harder because I wanted to incorporate like a deep dark blue. Now deep dark blue with pink looks a little weird sometimes, especially when it's like hot pink and stuff. And so when I was originally doing her hair was hot pink, like a bright, voluptuous, hot pink. And I ended up despising it. I ended up going for a more dull pink, which honestly, with her skin tone, it looks so much better. And another reason why I ended up killing the hot pink is because she looked way too close to a character that I already have. I have a character named Brooklyn, and she also has like a pastel overall like color scheme theme, but her hair is this bright hot pink, and it was just too much. I just have to say it was just too much. As for her clothing, I did the coloring for her clothing several times. So overall, she went through hot pink, dark blue, a lighter dark blue, white, and eventually we ended on gray. Like a grayish silver just looked the best because quite honestly, after a while I got tired of having to continuously looking for a different color for her outfit. So as you can see, she's on this like, she went from like a little bit lighter of a blue to a bit darker of a blue, but I didn't like the dark blue because I wanted her background to be dark blue. So like I said, you don't have as much pink in the overall picture, but she does use more pink in like other things. The background I think was the easiest part of this whole shebang because it's just a moon with some lines around it, and overall it just looks nice. It's a nice simple background for the overall character, which I appreciate for myself because like I said, there was so much going on with her that like the background was just something that I wanted to keep as filled but simple as possible. I do like the dark blue and the gold. I think it looks very nice, very pretty. It makes me very happy. There's not much else that I can tell you about, but I ended up changing her clothing color so much. The other thing that was added to the background is there are some smaller moons and some stars in the background of it, which I absolutely think was honestly much needed. She covered up so much of the crescent moon behind her that I kind of needed just a little bit more to add to like the overall picture, and you know, it ended up looking good. I like that. I appreciate that in myself. So dipped on that big old crescent moon and was just like, we'll just do smaller ones. She just covered up so much of it that I just couldn't do it. So enjoy the rest of the video, and I will see you guys in the outro.
Waiting for you, hoping that this rain is falling. I say for you good night. I say for you good night. Let's get lucky tonight. All together is good. I just wonder if you like me. I can show you my love. Here it is. Don't be shy again. Oh my darling, you're right. Truly I have sweet song tonight. 'Cause I wanted to stay overnight. Don't be coy again. Oh, your sweet voice is like a feeder song. And you wanna fly. It's time to join us. Oh, your sweet smile is like a shooting star. And I wanna fly. I feel the breeze from you. All together is nice. Have you ever seen this before? This is for you and me, you and I. Feel the guilt.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, give it a like, share. You know, like I said, if you guys wanted to see like the finishing products and or like look at them or support me, those will all be linked down below on my social media. What else? If you guys actually did want to support me financially, my Ko-fi is also linked down below, that you can just give $3 to me, buy me a Ko-fi, I guess, or whatever. I am opening a shop in December, so if you want to save your money for that, there will be pre-orders for pins and pre-orders for patches and then sticker sets and things like that when I open my shop. I'm so excited about that, by the way. What else? I think that's all. If you guys have anything else you want to see about me, my Inktober, subscribe. You know, turn on that notification bell so that you get notified every time I post a video. Because if you really like me, that is. Like, if you don't like me, then I mean, you don't have to. But at the same time, if you did enjoy this video and you want to see more of my art, please subscribe. I would enjoy seeing you often. That's all for this video. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.